Hey guys, welcome back to Dark Souls 3. Today we go to the Catacombs of Carthus, but first we have an Estus shard to turn in and a bone shard to burn. Heals are looking pretty nice now, good supply of Estus. I realise it's been a while, so my apologies, I've had a bit of a rough week, but I'm good, so nothing to worry about there. Videos should resume as normal from here on out. Also, man's gone and bought all the components for a new computer, so I am building that soon with the help of a very good friend of mine. And what that means is quality should improve all around. I'll be able to run games with higher graphics options. There shouldn't be any more stuttering, I would hope. So that's something to look forward to. I'm honestly really stoked. Alright, let's talk about this area. Something Dark Souls 3 does a lot is it rehashes concepts from other games. So we've already seen a catacomb level. We've seen it twice now. We have the catacombs in Dark Souls 1, we have the Undead Crypt in Dark Souls 2. However, I don't necessarily mind, and it's something you'll see a lot of in this game, like there's a poison swamp. The High Wall of Lothric is pretty much the Undead Burg. However, they might feel familiar, maybe a little bit too familiar, but the level design itself is amazing. So it doesn't bother me too much. But it definitely leads me to believe that this game has the least heart and personality of all of the Souls games. And I don't really think you can argue otherwise, because most of this game is just callbacks to the other games. But at the same time, I can't blame From Software, because as they were making this, I believe the intention was that this would be the last ever Souls game. I know Miyazaki has since said that he would leave the door open for someone else within From Software to maybe revisit the series one day, but for all intents and purposes, this is the last ever Souls game. So there's a lot of fan service, and I understand why. They wanted something that would round off the trilogy. But what that means is it just feels very, very familiar. It doesn't have much of a personality of its own. I think I would have preferred a sequel like Dark Souls 2 that just does its own thing. But in terms of rounding off a trilogy, I think they made the smart choice here. And honestly, I think the PvE here is the best in the series. Like, it's so much fun. It's just a joy to play. Whether it's the best in the series, well, maybe for a one and done playthrough. It's certainly the game I would recommend to newcomers. Although you would miss out on all of the callbacks to Dark Souls 1, you just wouldn't understand, right? I think, like, not only is it the most polished and streamlined, it's just a lot easier on the player. And although it is linear, which is a shame, especially on repeat playthroughs, I think it's a lot easier to get your bearings as a newcomer. Although it's hard to really say, because obviously I had played Dark Souls 1, 2, and Demon Souls, and Bloodborne before this game came out, so hard to say, but it is the one I would recommend. And perhaps the one I have the most fun with, I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm having such a good time. I wasn't expecting to be enjoying this game so much. Especially as I've leveled quite a lot of criticism towards it. If you really love something, you need to be able to acknowledge its flaws. Otherwise, you're just a rampant fanboy. And it encourages good conversation. So I'm going to pose a question to you guys. What's your favourite Souls game and why? If you're wondering what my answer is, I don't know. I think as sequels, Dark Souls 2 and 3, not separately, but collectively, improve on nearly everything from Dark Souls 1. You can argue that they've never touched the world design of Dark Souls 1, and you're not wrong. But I think I understand why. I think it was just a little bit too unforgiving for newcomers. It really was. Like, you could get in some absolutely horrendous situations in that game just by exploring. And because of the way that game was marketed with all the prepare to die stuff in, you know, in the West, people end up getting, like, absolutely owned by skeletons in the catacombs, and they think, oh, this is Dark Souls. They said it was hard, so that's how it be. So it's not surprising that they've kind of streamlined everything. I'm running in bloody circles, man. My apologies. So yeah, what's your favourite Souls game? Here's a better explanation than the non-answer I gave you previously. The Souls game... Whoa! The Souls game with the best online. The best PvP, the best co-op, the best build variety. The most replayable and the one that I have played the most, Dark Souls 2. What's the best Souls game for a one and done playthrough? What's the best Souls game? What's the Souls game with the best boss fights and combat and music and level design? It's Dark Souls 3. And which game has the best world design? Dark Souls 1, although that is a matter of preference. Some people don't like Dark Souls 1's world design because it is so unforgiving. There is still something about Dark Souls 1 though, man. Even though I honestly think it's a bit of a hard sell nowadays. In 2020, to recommend Dark Souls 1, I think you have to recommend it with a few caveats. I would probably urge that you should be referencing a walkthrough. Not like entirely, but you should use it as a very loose guide of where to go, just to avoid potentially horrific situations. I don't know why I don't have 4 rings equipped. I would also state that the combat can feel a bit clunky. It's been iterated on and it's been vastly improved in Dark Souls 3, in my opinion. I know that's a matter of preference. A lot of people like the slower style of Dark Souls 1. I think for a slower combat style, Dark Souls 2 is way better in that regard. Also, lack of omnidirectional rolling kind of sucks. In my opinion, you might like it, I don't. Nice, dude. So yes, let me know. What's your favourite Souls game and why? Don't be afraid to say Dark Souls 2. I love Dark Souls 2. I will defend that game till the day I die, honestly. Does not deserve some of the hate it gets. It definitely has problems, my god. It did have some big shoes to fill though, man. Following Dark Souls 1 is no easy task. So what did they do? They did something different. And fair fucking play to B-Team. That was the smart thing to do. Well, it wasn't the smart thing to do. I almost feel like they've overcorrected with this game. They've been like, well, Dark Souls 2 was polarizing amongst the community. A lot of people didn't really vibe with it. It didn't feel much like the first game. So, with Dark Souls 3, we are going to do something that is just a little too familiar. Doesn't have much of a personality of its own. Relies a lot on fan service and callbacks to the first game. But as I've said, it's a trilogy. It's the last of a trilogy. So, it kind of makes sense that it feels like a best of. It's a celebration of Dark Souls. I just think From Software do their best work when they do new things altogether. And I think, obviously, Bloodborne is proof of that. I'm not really including that in the conversation here, because it's not part of the Souls series. It's very similar, sure. I would lump it in the Soulsborne series in a broader conversation, sure. But Bloodborne is just amazing. Just amazing. It might be their best game. I do have some problems with it though. It certainly ain't perfect. That is for another time though, perhaps in a playthrough on this channel. What the hell? Oh, I wondered what was going on with my flask there. Just got a throwing knife stuck in my wrist, bruh. I think Miyazaki himself has said he doesn't like sequels. And it's quite easy to see why. I think his creative juices are flowing the most when he's working on something new altogether. And when he revisits something, it just feels a little bit bland. I don't know. Ironically, this game lacks a soul. However, I say that as someone that spent thousands of hours with every single game in this series. I think for a one and done playthrough, you might not have any issues with the fan service or the linearity. In fact, the linear progression isn't even a problem if you only play this game once and shelve it. I know a lot of people that do that. They play a game once and they shelve it. And all the power to you. I don't resonate with a lot of games, but the games I do, I just no-life them. And every single Souls game I've spent hundreds of hours with. Right, I don't know if I've mentioned this right. So, Henri is here and Horace has gone missing. You can actually see him down there. I'll be sure to zoom in the edit. And he's gone hollow. He was such a simp, he couldn't handle being in the friend zone. So he's run away to cry about it, I guess. He's in Smouldering Lake. And Henri is wondering where he is. So if we go to Smouldering Lake, we do have an option to come back up here and tell Henri that he is down there. In which case, he will kill Henri. And that will end her quest line. Henri is actually our bride-to-be. So it's very important she stays alive. Otherwise, we can't get married. And I think Horace must have known. And he's depressed about it. You got friend zoned, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Don't need a big song and dance about it. We obviously, our player character does not know where he is. Although we can see him, you have to go down there for it to trigger. And then we could come back up here and be like, we've seen Horace in Smouldering Lake. She'll go and find him. If he's alive, he will kill her. If you've already killed him, which you most likely will, because he will attack you on sight, she will go down and create some kind of memorial, I believe. And that will still progress the quest line. But we're not bothering with Smouldering Lake yet. We're going to save that for the next episode. So, we just need to speak to her. We can't actually tell her where he is anyway, because our player character doesn't know, despite me knowing, because I've obviously played this before. Wait, I've missed something here. Oh, no. I was going to go kill, Sorig, the Tarkus wannabe with the Fumatra Greatsword. But I'll have to endure one of the worst ganks in the game, because the amount of skeletons that... I think I've missed a good chunk of this area, actually. Yeah, I've literally been on autopilot. Forgive me, we're going back for a moment. Holy crap. Got stuck in on that conversation about the best Souls game. You know what I think it comes down to is... I could make an argument for any one of them, because they're all so fucking good. And on the whole, this series is amazing. It's probably my favourite series of games. And quite often, when I meet people, and they like the Souls games, they're not casual fans. They fucking live and breathe Dark Souls. And it's one of those games, man, when you get sucked in, it's remarkable. Weapon up! Let's use that, shall we? Nice. So I haven't spoken on the boss yet. Hi, Lord Wolnir. It's kind of a gimmick fight more akin to the archdemons from Demon Souls, which is cool. There is an attempt at some variety with the bosses here. Not every boss needs to be sword and board. And I really like his design and the arena. The man is so savage, he literally vapes the abyss. That is just remarkable, really. Got him. But yeah, it's a gimmick fight. Like, it's not a fight that will really play out any differently depending on your build. It's more so he has 3 bracelets. Destroy them all and he dies, and that's it. He can summon skeletons. But I actually didn't realize that until New Game Plus, because I can normally end the fight very quickly, which means he doesn't get a chance to. So to my surprise, in New Game Plus, he summoned a bunch of bone wheels. Other than that, he can just slap you around. He has a sword. And he also has like a toxic miasma of death. So you can't get too close to his torso, because it can kill you in no time at all. Like, your health bar will disappear. Right, this is a big community mystery, this. I don't know if you've ever read about this, but there's been a lot of research into this. That boulder, once you take care of the worker hat skeleton, so I don't know if I've mentioned this, but for whatever reason, the boulders are tied to the worker hat skeletons. You kill them, then the boulders will shatter. This one spawns a crab that will follow you around. And I believe someone in the community actually got it to follow him all the way to Smouldering Lake, which is insane. And it's definitely, for me, reminiscent of the pendant from Dark Souls 1. I think one of the devs, if not Miyazaki himself, thought this was very funny. Because I'm sure you all know about the pendant in Dark Souls 1, but it's a starting gift that has no purpose in-game. But the reason it's there was to get people speculating on what its purpose was. It created this entire mystery where people were trying to, you know, unravel this mystery. What does the pendant do? Maybe it can access somewhere secret. But really, it did nothing. It was just a troll. Miyazaki was just trolling, man. Backstab. He just thought it was funny. And it is quite funny. I'm sure a lot of players spent hours speculating what its purpose was. And it doesn't do anything. So, what I'm saying is... Oh, risky. That crab, I think, is another attempt to get people speculating. Just to waste their own time because Miyazaki is a little prankster. Oh yeah, I think I said this. This guy's very reminiscent of Tarkus. The man, the myth, the legend. The guy that can solo Iron Golem. Or for all we know, maybe the crab does have another purpose and no one's discovered it. There are games, I couldn't name you any, but I've seen a few YouTube videos on games that have like Easter eggs that weren't discovered for decades, right? So, you know, maybe that's part of the bigger mystery. However, we are in the age of people literally dig through the files to figure out this stuff, so maybe not. Okay, we're pretty much good to go for the boss. Oh, frame rate. Idiot skeletons. That is a Dark Souls 2 level gank for sure. Miyazaki's like, I think maybe 4 or 5 skeletons is enough, and then... I can't remember his name. B-Team Director is like, I don't even know if he worked on Dark Souls 3. B-Team Director is like, nah, how about 20? Miyazaki's like, nah, bro. He's like, what are you saying? You think Dark Souls 2 is bad? You think there are too many enemies in that game? I don't know what I'm talking about. Right, something died. The Vape Lord himself. Fattest rips in all of Lothric. We must first interact with this skull goblet. I'm now realizing I need to purchase a skull goblet so I can drink my turmeric tea in style. God, our bold, hollowed head is honestly horrific. You can't vape in here, dude. Right, let's go. This is a nice little reveal. Right, well we just got fucked by RNG. Oh, we didn't. I was gonna say, he doesn't normally do that to begin with. Like, there we go, there's one. 2 more remaining, and then we're done. Like, I enjoy the spectacle of this, but it's not the most interesting fight. It's still way better than some of the worst bosses in Dark Souls 2. Like, Dark Souls 3 doesn't even come close, really. Alright, there's the second. Yeah, you can end this quick, man. Come on! Awesome design, though. And we've probably... one more hit. Oh, you bastard. Oh! He's vaping. What am I supposed to be impressed, bro? Done. He who vapes the abyss will one day be consumed by it. Sick tricks, bruh. Not good enough, though. Get wrecked. Right, we can go to Irithyll now, but we won't. We're going to go to Smouldering Lake next, which is another rehashed theme / concept. The throwback to Demon Ruins with a little bit of Ash Lake sprinkled in there, at least visually. And honestly, it's really cool. I think I said this before, but it's awesome that they've revisited that, but actually fully realized the concept, because Lost Izalith sucks. We all know it sucks. Miyazaki knows it sucks. So maybe it was like Miyazaki righting his wrongs. He's like, I have to do like a demon lava ruin zone, but actually fully realize I don't think there's any lava though. Is there? I can't remember. No, there is. There is. It's just not as much as, like, Izalith. Yeah, 52k souls. I think we're going to pump that all into health. Get that to 27 for 1000 HP whilst embered. And then the next batch of souls will go into strength and dex, because that's going to boost our damage over time. Oh, 26. That'll do. 977 HP. Cool. Farewell. Let's burn this first before we forget. Done. Right. Everything is coming up Millhouse, guys. Everything's looking good for our hideous-faced... What's my name? What did I call you? Hermes. Hermes is so hollow. He doesn't have eyes anymore. That's just fucked. Still got his beard, though. That's where it counts. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Once again, I'm sorry it took so long. But we are good, and things will resume as usual. Do let me know, what's your favourite Dark Souls game and why? I'm really curious. I mean, I love them all. It's really hard to say. And a lot of people say your favourite Souls game is the one you started with. And I don't agree with that, because other than... I played 2 hours of Dark Souls 1 and rage quit. That was my first experience. But the first game I dived into properly was Demon Souls. And it's not my favourite. But the problem is, I love all these games so much. It's like... how do I even come up with a definitive answer? Maybe there isn't one. Maybe we can all just agree that the Souls series is just incredible. I mean, we won't all agree. I'm sure some people hate this series. Heathens. That's what they are. And they probably suck. You all need to get good. You don't like Dark Souls. No, I'm joking. I can see why people wouldn't like this series. And it's not just the case of it being very hard, but some people just don't like action RPGs, whatever. That's a big old tangent. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do let me know what you think below. What's your favourite Souls game? Let's have a chat, man. Oh, and lurkers too. If you're a lurker, come say hello. I like to talk to you guys, so let's have a chat. Let me know you're out there. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Headbang. Goodbye.